All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're cracking the code on one of the most exciting and maybe one of the most misunderstood opportunities in clean energy, commercial solar sales. We're going to break down the foundations and the best practices, and we'll do it using some incredible real-world case studies. Okay, let's jump right in.
This quote right here, it just nails it. Commercial solar isn't the churn and burn, high-volume game of residential. And it's not the slow, massive, utility-scale world either. It's this unique space right in the middle lane. And to succeed here, you've got to know its own special set of rules.
So when you're driving in this middle lane, you got to realize that winning is about so much more than just the tech or the latest incentives. We're going to see that this is really a game of trust, of strategic timing, and most importantly, knowing exactly who you're talking to.
Okay, so just to make sure we're all on the same page here, this is what we mean by the middle lane. We're talking about the C&I market, commercial and industrial. Think solar projects for businesses, for nonprofits, for public buildings like schools. It's an incredibly diverse and fascinating group of customers.
Now here's the thing. No matter who the customer is, every single one of these commercial solar projects really starts its journey down one of two main paths. And understanding these two paths, it's absolutely fundamental.
So you've basically got two ways in. First, there's direct engagement. That's all you. It's your hustle, your networking, getting out there and building a local reputation from the ground up. Then, on the other side, you have developer partnerships, where a more established player in the industry brings you into a deal they're already working on. The really experienced folks. They learn how to master both of these to keep a steady stream of projects coming in.
Okay, this one is huge. You absolutely cannot use a one-size-fits-all sales pitch in the C&I market. Selling to, say, a family-owned manufacturer is a completely different universe than selling to a public school district. Why? Because how they make decisions, it's a totally different ballgame.
And just look at the difference right here. With a private business, if you can get in front of the right person and the numbers work, a decision could happen in weeks. But with public groups and nonprofits, you're playing a different game. It's a game of patience. You're navigating committees, board reviews. Your job really shifts from being a salesperson to being an educator, and it often takes a whole lot longer.
So all of this, it's all leading up to the single most important idea in this entire explainer. In these complex, long-haul deals, your most valuable asset isn't your fancy proposal or even your price. The real currency here, the thing that makes deals happen, it's trust.
All right, let's break down our first principle, which you'll see in action perfectly in this next case study. It's simple. Having a relationship before you even start talking about solar gives you a massive, massive advantage.
Let's talk about the Swedish Covenant Hospital in Chicago. This project is a fantastic example. It wasn't born from a cold call or an ad. It was just the next logical step in a partnership that had been built over a long, long time. The project itself was a 171 kilowatt DC system. And, that's just the technical term for how much power it can kick out at peak performance. To put that into perspective, a system this size can power about 25 typical American homes for a year. That is a really significant installation, especially when you're talking about a hospital roof in the middle of a dense city.
So what was the secret sauce here? Well, it wasn't just one thing. First, you had a decades-long relationship, so that trust was already there. Plus, the hospital's leadership was genuinely committed to their environmental mission. And the timing was perfect. They were already doing other big upgrades. It all meant the whole conversation could be about education and partnership, not some hard sell persuasion tactic.
But what if you don't have that foot in the door? What happens when you're going after those truly massive, game-changing projects? Well, that's where trust isn't the entry point. It's something you have to patiently build, sometimes for years.
And I've got the perfect case study for this, the Magic Glove project in Illinois. We're talking about a huge manufacturing facility with a roof that stretched across an incredible 15 acres. In the system they built, an absolutely massive 3.4 megawatts. Now remember, a megawatt is 1,000 kilowatts, so this system was 20 times bigger than the hospital project we just saw. It was so big, in fact, it could offset 100% of the entire facility's electricity use. This is the kind of project that literally changes the landscape.
Now, you got to understand, a project of this scale,
It doesn't just fall out of the sky. This was the result of years of relationship building. It took navigating some really complex state regulations on system size, and in the end, it was so successful that the client came back for a second phase and added a huge battery system. This is the absolute definition of the long game paying off.
Okay, our third principle is all about where this industry is headed. The whole conversation around solar is shifting. It's not just about saving money on your utility bill anymore. It's about building your own energy independence. It's about resilience.
And you cannot find a better example of this shift than ABT Electronics. See, they didn't just want some solar panels slapped on the roof. They wanted a complete, forward-thinking energy solution.
I mean, just look at the system they put together. It started with a big solar array, over 0.5 megawatt. But then they integrated it with battery storage and their existing diesel backup generators to create what's called a double microgrid, which is really just a fancy way of saying it can completely disconnect from the utility grid and power itself during an outage. This system doesn't just provide power, it provides total peace of mind. And get this, it can even earn money by providing services back to the grid. This is the future.
So we've walked through these incredible real-world projects, we've seen the principles in action. What does it all mean for you? Well, we've boiled down all these lessons into a strategic playbook for mastering the long game of commercial solar. But before we get to the playbook, I need to share a number with you. And honestly, it's a tough one. Industry data shows that only about 1%, just 1% of qualified leads in this business actually become a completed project. Just let that sink in for a second. That means 99% of your effort isn't actually about closing the deal. It's about positioning, educating, and patiently staying in the game.
So keeping that 1% number front and center, here are the rules. Rule number 1, start with people and reputation. It's everything. 2, show up as a teacher, not a pusher. Your job is to educate. 3, do the hard work and find out who really holds the pen, who makes the final call. 4, earn the right to scale. Prove yourself on smaller projects first. 5, and this is the hardest one, patiently stay in the game. And finally, number 6, after you win, you have to tell that story. Your past success is your single best tool for landing the next big deal.
And, at the end of the day, it all comes down to this. Success in this business isn't some magic trick. It's not a lightning strike. It's momentum. It's something you build slowly and steadily, through integrity, through expertise, and through one good, honest conversation at a time. Because when you do this right, these projects become so much more than just financial deals. They become lasting assets for businesses, for schools, for entire communities. So the question I want to leave you with is this. It's not just about what deal you're going to close next. It's about what kind of legacy you're going to build.